The stock market is rigged. That's the thesis of the new book by Michael Lewis called Flash Boys. Lewis got the 60 Minutes treatment last night. Have a listen to how strongly he is stating this argument.
The stock market's rigged. The United States stock market, the most iconic market in global capitalism, is rigged.
By whom?
By a combination of the stock exchanges, the big Wall Street banks, and high-frequency traders.
Well, here we are on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. We've got Ben Willis, Albert Freed, and, of course, our own Bob Pisani. Obviously, these comments resonated. We've been talking about it here for a while.
Years and years. But you get a big megaphone, you get attention for it. Look, we've got concerns about high-frequency trading. We've talked about them. I'd like to see some changes, but rigged? I don't think
overstatement.
For sure, it's an overstatement. There are definitely high-frequency traders that would like to charge you a penny for your liquidity and the right for you to buy a stock.
It was a pretty powerful image, though, to show just how fast they can get it and just how fast sort of these prices disappear.
Speed has always been a function of the stock market. The fastest one into the crowd has always been a successful trade. Years ago on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, you used to pay to have location on the booth, so you had a direct line of sight into the IBM crowd, which is right here, or Philip Morris, that was over at Post 9. That's always been a function of it. What he's describing and calling it rigged, he honed his skill as a hawker on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, where he's from. That was to get your attention to sell a book. That's just a pure play on...
What I'm concerned about is the psychological impact here. We want more public confidence in the markets. I'm not happy if some high-speed trader wants to scalp a penny because you're buying Apple. Instead of $535, you're now paying $535.01. I'm not happy about that. But it isn't a disaster. If you're buying 100 shares of Apple at $535.01, that you're paying a dollar more, essentially.
So how do the regulators get at it? I mean, I think it highlights the fact that they've been looking at it for a while. Nothing has managed to be done. This is 50% of volume of trades.
Well, but again, the question is what, if anything, should be done. I think we should work on some general principles. The first one, I think, is that information should be available to everyone at the same time.
The transparency.
There's been some instances where that hasn't happened, and I'm glad to see that there are some corrections being made. The other one I really want to see is the government ought to figure out whether there are people who are engaging in abusive and manipulative practices. They don't know. They don't have the technology to know. They're trying to develop that now. There's a consolidated audit trail. They're trying to develop that would give them the information to try to figure out.
Well, Michael Lewis is claiming there's front-running going on.
And there is, in a sense, but the front-running he's talking about is not 50% of the daily trading volume. High-frequency trading encompasses a great deal. There are those people that trade high-frequency because they're capturing rebates, because they're paid for their order flow by the exchanges. The front-running he's talking about is somebody who's in the market, who's reading somebody else's order, and the only movement for that, the reason to buy the stock, is because there's another buyer. That's what needs to be shaken out and be ruled against, so to speak. But that's a small percentage, if you will, in terms of the 50% of the volume.
Right, and
it's still front.
But he's also, and remember, it's legal. Okay, the things that he was describing, using fiber optic lines to get faster to exchanges, is perfectly legal.
That's legal, but not trading on the information of an order existing in the marketplace.
Guys,
before the exchanges became electronic and owned by membership and owned by shareholders. That was frowned upon, and we stopped it.
All right, guys, we got to go. But obviously, it is a hot topic of discussion down here on the floor. I also know you're looking at the Virtu IPO perspectives, which is a whole other topic of conversation.
Check out my Trader Talk.
Well, check out his blog. And also be sure to check this out. Michael Lewis on Power Lunch tomorrow. You will not want to miss that interview. Carl?
All right, Sarah, thanks so much. We do have some breaking news on Bill Ackman. For that, let's get to Scott Wapner over at HQ. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Carl, thanks so much. Bill Ackman's boosting his stakes in both Fannie and Freddie in the common stock this morning. I've just learned that. I've had a conversation with him, and you know that there's this Johnson and Crapo plan on Capitol Hill that would wind down Fannie and Freddie. You take this as Bill Ackman betting that the likelihood of that happening is obviously decreasing, at least in his mind. That's why he has increased his stakes in both Fannie and Freddie from a combined 9.8% to more than 11% of each of these businesses, which is quite interesting, just given what's gone on down on Capitol Hill. That conversation has heated up in recent weeks about the future of both Fannie and Freddie. Again, Senators Johnson and Crapo want to wind down those entities. Bill Ackman had already been in those names, as have a number of other hedge fund managers. Now Ackman, maybe not doubling down, but certainly increasing his bet that the likelihood of that happening has decreased just a bit. So we'll keep an eye on Fannie and Freddie today as well. Carl?
Scott, it's David. You know, what's interesting here about this decision by Ackman is it's the common. Perry Capital, for example, Bruce Berkowitz, they have taken significant positions in the preferred. They're also litigating. But he has chosen a much more risky approach, it would seem, with this decision to invest so significantly in the common stock as opposed to those preferreds, as Berkowitz and Perry Capital both combat the government on the so-called Third Amendment that allowed all the profits to be swept to the U.S. Treasury.
Right, because, you know, those who are in the preferred, David, are obviously litigating and trying to make their bet on the fact that if they were wound down, or however the future of Fannie and Freddie were sorted out, that they would be compensated in some respects first. It's the common shareholders who potentially stand to lose everything if those entities were wound down. So, look, I don't have to tell you, David, he's a gunslinger. He's making a bet here that the likelihood is decreasing. There are those on Capitol Hill who would say that there's not a lot of support to get this done, that being the Johnson and Crapo plan. So maybe Ackman is betting on that side. Maybe he's had conversations, you know, with folks down on Capitol Hill who lead him to believe.
There is the added wrinkle that Crapo is retiring, and we'll see how long a legs it has when he does leave. But that's another story.
Yeah. Listen, people rolled their eyes when Ackman invested in General Growth, of course, a bankrupt company, and it was an incredible win for him. So
this has been, and David, you know, these investments, as they have been for many of these big investors who are in there, have been incredible investments up to this point. It's just the unknown down the road that leaves the innuendo as to what's going to happen to the, you know, vast amounts of money that have been invested by some of the guys that you and, you know, we both speak to on a regular basis.
The common could very easily be worthless, which is a key point to be aware of.
Thanks, Scott. Scott Wapner over at HQ. When we come back, a major name in casinos and resorts is severely undervalued, says our next guest. He's betting on the stock, saying there's major room to run. We'll see. Squawk on the Streets back in a minute.